We're making homemade protein bars. Have you guys ever made homemade? They taste so much better. They're super easy to make. So we're starting off with 1 cup of oats into the blender. So we have 1 cup of oats in our blender, and we are just going to blend this up until it becomes a flour-like consistency. All right, this is perfect. As you can see, it's almost like a flour. So I have my bowl here, and I'm just gonna add the oat flour into the bowl. And now I'm going to add 2 scoops of vanilla protein powder to my bowl. I'm using a grass-fed vanilla whey protein powder. This is the one that I'm using. But you can use whatever you have on hand. You just want to use about 40 grams. Next, I'm adding about a 1/2 cup of peanut butter. You could use almond butter. You could use sunflower seed butter if you want them to be nut-free. And I always get questions how I get my peanut butter to pour this easily. I do not melt it. It's just natural peanut butter, as you can see here. Unsweetened, unsalted, no added oils, no added sugar. So I'm gonna add this right into my bowl. It's a 1/2 cup of nut butter. Next, I'm adding in 2 tablespoons of melted coconut oil. And now I'm gonna add in a 1/4 cup of honey. This honey is a little bit thicker, so I am using a spoon to measure it. Might be a little bit messier, but that's okay. If you can use raw honey, even better. So I'm using some raw superfood honey, it's called, but any kind of honey will do. So now I'm just going to add this right into my bowl. I'm so tired of trying to find protein bars at the store that have good ingredients, not too much added sugar, and also aren't crazy expensive, and it's so hard to find. So I have started making my own, and it is way better. They taste better, they're healthier for you, and they are a lot more economical. Next, I'm going to add in about a teaspoon of vanilla extract, just for that extra vanilla flavor, and then a nice big shake of salt. Now we're just gonna mix this all together until it's completely combined. So as you can see, a dough is starting to form. You could also add in something like cinnamon. That'd be really good. You could make them chocolate by adding in cocoa powder. That's another thing I love about making homemade protein bars is you can really make it your own. This smells so good, guys. Just keep mixing it up until it is completely combined. So this is the dough consistency that you're looking for. That looks perfect. So now I'm going to grab a loaf pan. I just added some parchment paper so that it doesn't stick. It's probably not necessary for this recipe, but I figured it might just make things easier, make my cleanup a little bit easier. So I'm just going to take this protein bar dough and place it into my loaf pan and then just press it down. So just press it down till it's evenly distributed into your loaf pan. You don't necessarily have to use a loaf pan. You can use any kind of container. Don't mind Lulu. So we are just pressing the protein bars down, and then we'll stick these in the fridge to set, and then they will be all ready to go. You could also add chocolate chips. You could do a chocolate drizzle. You could add any sort of nuts in here. Pecans or walnuts would be really good. All right, so this looks perfect. I can take these little clothespins off. I just use those to hold down the parchment paper. And I'm gonna stick this into the freezer. You could also do the fridge, but I'm gonna do the freezer so it goes quickly. And then they will be ready to go. Our protein bars have set. This is why I love using parchment paper, because it just comes right out of the pan and there's no mess. So we are going to cut these apart. So I'm just gonna take my knife and cut little squares. You can make them as big or as small as you'd like. And you can keep them like this so that they're an actual bar. Look at how good those look. Or you could slice them again if you want more of a protein bite, which is what I'm gonna do this time. I switch it up and I do both, but I'm gonna have little protein squares. And look at how good this looks. If you've ever had a perfect bar, this is a somewhat similar texture. I think it's so good. It's like peanut butter cookie dough almost. I forgot to mention I also added a sprinkle of sea salt on top, but like I said earlier, you could add some chocolate chips on top. You could do a drizzle of melted chocolate. That would be super good. But I just kept it simple today with the sea salt, but let's give it a try. Oh my gosh, you guys. It is seriously unbelievably good, you guys. And the texture is on point. It seriously tastes like a peanut butter cookie.